Hi friends, welcome to Storytime this week. I am so excited to be here and I'm really excited that you're here with me too. Thanks for joining me. Before we get started reading, let's sing our song and welcome everybody together. Everybody come to story. Everybody come to story time. Everybody come and sit on the floor. Everybody come and sit on the floor. Not on the ceiling, not on the door. Everybody come and sit on the floor. Great singing, everybody. Thank you for singing along with me. We have a very fun and very special book today. But before I reveal the title to you, I want to see if you can tell me what you think the book is about based on the illustration on the front cover. What do you see? I see a spider. I see cups of tea, some porcelain pots and cups. And what's behind her? That's right, a web. The title of this book is called Miss Spider's Tea Party. Did you guess that one of the characters was a spider? Way to go. The author and illustrator of this book is David Kirk. That means that David both wrote the words and drew the pictures for this book. It's pretty special. Let's get started. Miss Spider's Tea Party. One lonely spider sipped her tea while gazing at the sky. She watched the insects on the leaves and many others flying by. If I had friends like these, she sighed, who'd stay a while with me, I'd sit them down on silken chairs and serve them cakes and tea. Two timid beetles, Ike and May, here's Ike and here's May, crept from the woodwork that very same day. But when Miss Spider begged, "Please stay," they shrieked, "Oh no!" and dashed away. What do you think made them run away? I wonder. 3 fireflies flew inside that night, their spirits high and their tails alight. They spied the web and squeaked in fear, "We'd better get away from here." The little trio did not feel that they'd care to be a spider's meal. Four bumblebees buzzed by outside. "Please come to tea," Miss Spider cried. The 4 ignored her swaying there. She waved a tea towel in the air. She took a cup and tapped the glass. Then one bee spoke to her at last. "We would be fools to take our tea with anyone so spidery." You think they filled Miss Spider's bucket or emptied it by saying those things? I think they emptied it too. It wasn't very kind. Within the shadows of the room, just peeking from behind a broom, 5 grinning faces bobbed and peered. Miss Spider smiled. Her heart was cheered. Descending for a closer look, she danced into the gloomy nook, but sadly found those jolly mugs belonged, alas, to rubber bugs. The bugs that she saw were artificial, which means they were not real. They were made of rubber. Some ants strode in. They numbered 6, but ants with spiders will not mix. She brewed them tea from hips of roses. The proud platoon just turned up their noses. They said, "No, thank you." A fine bouquet concealed its prize of 7 dainty butterflies. Miss Spider, watching from the wall, was not aware of them at all. That bouquet of flowers. How many butterflies do you see? There's quite a few. The tea table was set for 8, with saucers, cups, and a silver plate. The cakes were fresh, the service gleamed, yet no one would arrive, it seemed. Her company in no demand left her a cup for every hand. The table settings are empty. Nine spotted moths kept safe and warm in shelter from a thunderstorm. They stood beneath an open sash and watched the jagged lightning flash. Miss Spider dropped down on a thread, a silver tray above her head. She'd hoped to please them, but instead, they flew away in mortal dread. "They've left me all alone," she cried. She dabbed her eyes and sadly sighed. "It's plain no bug will ever stay." Her tears splashed down upon the tray. How do you think Miss Spider's feeling right now? How would you feel if you were Miss Spider? Ten tiny steaming cups of tea were perched atop her trembling knee. She sipped and sobbed, then heard a cough, and turned to see a small wet moth, a fragile thing so soaked by rain, his wings too damp to fly again. What do you think Miss Spider's going to do next? Let's see. She smiled and took a checkered cloth to cloak the frail and thankful moth. They talked and snacked on tea and pie until his tiny wings were dry. Then, lifting him with tender care, she tossed him gently in the air. With Miss Spider's help, his wings dried up and he was able to fly again. She was a helpful friend and helpful neighbor. That moth told Ike, then Ike told May, who went from bug to say, "Hey, there's no reason for alarm. She's never meant us any harm." So later on that afternoon, assembled in the dining room, 11 insects came to tea to share Miss Spider's courtesy. Wow, look at this illustration. Everyone looks so cheerful. 12 tender violets in a vase presented at Miss Spider's place, set by her chair so neatly spun. She munched the blossoms one by one. Her friends were glad to watch her feast upon the floral centerpiece. It was a great relief to see she ate just flowers and drank just tea. Miss Spider's reputation grew. Before too long, our hostess knew each bug who crawled or hopped or flew, and all their lovely children too. Take a look at this illustration. Miss Spider is smiling and all of her neighbors and friends are smiling too. The end. Thanks so much for sitting so patiently and listening so intently to that book. Miss Spider had a little bit of a scary appearance to those bugs at first, right? But after they took some time and got to know her, they figured out that what's on the inside was different than what's on the outside. She may have looked a little bit scary, but she was kind and helpful and wanted to spend some time with them. I think they were all pretty cheerful in the end. Thanks so much for joining me for Storytime this week, my friends. We miss you.